Ethan Carter wiped the sweat off his forehead as he tightened the last bolt on a cargo hauler's landing gear. Another long shift, another thankless job. The shipyard was massive, a floating station orbiting a distant planet, but for humans like him, it was nothing more than a corporate machine that saw workers as disposable. The pay was barely enough, and the alien supervisors didn't bother hiding their disdain. As he packed up his tools, an emergency alert flashed across his workstation. A small, heavily damaged vessel was drifting toward the station's docking bay. The automated system marked it as unauthorized, but it wasn't a pirate ship or a threat. It was barely holding together, its hull scorched, engines sputtering. Curiosity got the best of him, so he made his way to the bay. The docking arms latched onto the craft, sealing it into the station. Security would normally handle situations like this, but they were slow with minor incidents. The hatch hissed open, and out stumbled a young alien, no taller than his waist, covered in dark green scales with a set of wide, terrified eyes. The kid was hurt, nothing serious, but clearly shaken. It looked around frantically, clutching a small device that emitted a garbled translation attempt. Whatever language it spoke, the station's system couldn't process it fast enough. Ethan knelt down, keeping his movements slow. "You lost." The child flinched but nodded rapidly, gripping the device tighter. It pointed toward its ship and then to itself, desperation clear in its expression. The message was obvious. It needed the ship fixed. A quick scan showed multiple critical failures. The propulsion system was barely functional, and the reactor had a cascading failure that could blow at any moment. No wonder the kid was panicked. "Damn," Ethan muttered. "No way you fix this on your own." The kid chirped something unintelligible. It didn't matter. Ethan knew that protocol required him to call security and let them handle it. But security didn't fix things. They detained, they reported, and they stalled. By the time they processed the situation, this kid's ship would be nothing but a floating wreck. He hesitated only for a moment before rolling up his sleeves. "All right, let's get to work." The tools he had weren't meant for this kind of job, but human ingenuity had always been about working with what you had. The ship's systems were built for precision-tuned repairs, not the rough, hands-on approach humans relied on. But Ethan wasn't bound by rigid protocols. He bypassed faulty circuits, rerouted power manually, and reinforced the hull with a makeshift patch. The kid watched closely, occasionally pressing buttons on their device in what seemed like an attempt to help. Minutes stretched into an hour, but eventually, the ship's systems stabilized. The engines flickered back to life, weak but functional. The child's wide eyes shimmered with relief. Ethan stepped back, dusting off his hands. "That should hold you together." The kid bowed deeply, then hurried inside. As the ship powered up, Ethan felt a small sense of pride. He had done the right thing. As the vessel disappeared into the void, he turned back toward the station, unaware that security cameras had captured everything. Panic gripped the station. Unidentified fleets didn't just appear without reason, and this one was massive. Dozens of warships hung outside the perimeter, their sheer size making the station's defenses look insignificant. No broadcasts, no threats, just a single demand. Ethan's name spread like wildfire. People whispered in corridors. Security scrambled. Supervisor Vrith had no choice but to send officers to find him. They tracked him down in a dimly lit bar, nursing the last drink he could afford. The moment they entered, the place fell silent. Ethan barely looked up as the lead officer approached. "You need to come with us." Ethan scoffed. "That didn't work out too well for me last time." "This isn't a request." The officers weren't rough, but they weren't gentle either. Within minutes, he was hauled through the station, past workers who now looked at him with a mix of curiosity and fear. The command deck was chaos. Aliens barking orders, screens filled with tactical readouts, every weapon online, but useless against the fleet outside. Vrith stood at the center, visibly unsettled. The moment Ethan arrived, the station's main screen flickered to life. A figure appeared, a high-ranking alien in regal armor, its golden eyes locked onto Ethan. Silence stretched before it spoke. "Ethan Carter, the one who aided our young." Murmurs spread through the room. Ethan said nothing, waiting. You acted without expectation of reward, the alien continued. You repaired a vessel not knowing its significance. That child is heir to our ruling house. The weight of those words crashed down on the room. Vrith stiffened, every official suddenly aware that they had fired the man who just saved a galactic heir. Ethan remained still. The kid was stranded. I did what anyone should. A pause. Then the alien leader spoke again.
No.
You did what few would. You showed kindness where bureaucracy would have let them die. Ethan could feel the tension radiating from the command staff. He glanced at Vrith, who now looked disturbingly pale. Your actions, the leader continued, demand recognition. You are invited aboard our flagship to be honored accordingly. Vrith stepped forward, desperate to regain control. There's no need for that. He is an unemployed mechanic, nothing more. We can handle this internally. The leader's eyes narrowed. You dismissed a man of value. We will not make the same mistake. Without another word, Ethan felt himself being ushered toward the docking bay. The station's hierarchy had lost all power over him. As he stepped onto the awaiting transport, reality set in. 3 days ago, he had been cast aside. Now, an entire fleet had come for him.